Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 9. So I decided to break the medic video up because I was running into really long videos and I didn't like that so much. So this is going to be Introduction to Medic Part 2. And where do you begin with Novice Medic? Well, we've already gone over what this box provides for you. It also gives you injury treatment speed, medical foraging, medicine assembly, medicine experimentation, medicine use, and wound treatment. Wound treatment gives you your 2 wound healing capabilities, and the higher your wound treatment is, the greater the amount of wound damage that you will be able to heal at a time. Medicine use, if we click over here, there is a required medicine use skill of 32. So when I crafted these Stimpack Cs, I accidentally crafted them wrong, and I made the medicine use skill too high. So if we come down here, to medicine use, oh, I'm now at 40. Bonus. I forgot I trained in Pharmacology 4. Okay, so I can use them now, but you'll want to watch out for what the medicine use skill is when you are actually crafting the medicine for you to use. If you are crafting medicine for grinding just to gain the skill, then you really won't need to worry about the medicine use number. So the first branch that I would recommend that you go up, and this is going to be an entire video, is the organic chemistry branch. Before you really go into any of these, I would recommend jumping all the way up to level 4. Organic chemistry is the crafting branch for the medic profession. These 3 branches here all use the same experience called medical experience and medical experience and medical experience, even though it doesn't tell us because I already own that box. This branch uses a different experience, and that is medical crafting. So you want to build up a number of generic crafting tools, and if you really should go back and watch the artisan introduction if you haven't seen it, as far as how I set up toolbar 6, because all we have to do I will practice. I will create a prototype, so we want practice here. So I'm going to practice, and then I come over to chemical. Currently, these are all of the items that I can craft with a generic crafting tool. Now, that doesn't mean that these are the only items that you get from crafting the medic tree. If we go to the specialized tool called food and chemical, we come over to chemical, you can see there's quite a bit more. And then if I run outside, right across the alleyway here is a food and chemical public crafting station. So if we close this and then reopen it, now there's even more. So how do you know if you need a specialized tool or if you need to be standing near a crafting station? if we open up our datapad and we come over to draft schematics, and let's say we find Stimpack C, it has a complexity of 24. So a complexity of 0 through 15 can be made by a generic crafting tool. So if we look at Stimpack A, it has a complexity of 10, which is why I can make a Stimpack A with a generic tool. If we come back over here to Stimpack C, it has a complexity of 24. So a generic is 0 through 15. A specialized tool is 15 through 20. And a crafting station is 21 to, I believe it goes up to 35. Maybe it goes up to 40 for Master Doctor. But anything above 20 requires a crafting station. So if we run away here, so that we're out of the range of the crafting station. Why does this window resize itself, I wonder? Stimpack A, Stimpack B, but no C. So we get quite a lot more when we're using a specialized tool near a crafting station. Now, one thing of note, generic crafting tools do not work with crafting stations. So even though I'm standing near a crafting station, I open my generic crafting tool, I still don't have the Stimpack C, because the generic crafting tool only has a complexity up to 15. So that's something to be aware of. But when you're over here on Novice Medic, you get Biological Effect Controller, Liquid Suspension, Stimpack A, and those are your only schematics that you start off with. So the best thing to really do is when you're setting up your crafting tools, you want to have an inventory of 10 or 15 Stimpack A's when you're a Novice Medic. These things will not be producing large amounts of healing, so you'll blow through a stack pretty quickly. And so by necessity, you will need to have a fairly sizable amount of Stimpaks in your inventory. I would recommend 10 to possibly 15 if you have enough room in your inventory. I've got a lot of crap in my inventory, so I try not to carry more than 6. But as a Novice Medic, you will not be making Stimpaks that have stack of 23. By the way, this number here on the corner of the Stimpak is the number of uses you get. So you can see quantity is 23. That means I can use this Stimpak 23 times before it will be removed from my inventory. And I know what you're thinking. You're going to use these needles 23 times? Yes. They say you're not supposed to reuse needles, but it is the future in a galaxy far, far away and a long, long time ago. So clearly, it must have some kind of self-decontamination feature. But you'll want to start off by crafting 10 to 15 Stimpak A's in prototype mode. That way you'll actually have them in your inventory. And then if you're just making your way progressing up, what you would want to be using are biological effect controllers. They only require 6 units of organic and 6 units of inorganic. So you get a huge array of options here. If you have Scout, you can use all of the organic resources you get from Scout to provide you with the organic. If you have Artisan, you can do 30 or so minutes of hand sampling and get more than enough inorganic. So that is the approach that I would recommend. Now you're going to want to climb your way up through the organic chemistry tree as quickly as you can. So that'll mean a lot of practice grinding. But you want to make sure that you have a good sized stack of stim packs on you so that if you come across somebody that is wounded, or you're in a party, a group, and you're the medic, so you're going to be healing people, you don't want to run out of stim packs and have to craft them in the wild. But if you do have to craft them in the wild, it's good to have Scout, so you can drop a camp and then do your crafting inside of the camp. So maintain a decent size inventory of Stimpack A's until you can get up to the point of having Stimpack B's in your inventory. And these are Stimpack B's. So they do 111 damage versus whatever these do. Oh, that's not so good. That's a little better. So these do 80. So you really don't want to worry about doing any experimenting on Stimpack A's. You're not really going to be able to dramatically affect them, especially if you are closer to novice than you are to medic. Master medic. So don't really worry about performing experimentation on them. But you'll want to work your way up here as quickly as you can. And then when we get to Organic Chemistry 1, you'll want to keep Action Wound Packs and Health Wound Packs in your inventory. So those are Constitution, Action. So it would probably be better just to carry one stack of each wound pack and then craft more if you run out, because you eventually get quite a few. In Organic Chemistry B, we get Action Wound Pack, Constitution Wound Pack, Health Wound Pack B, Quickness, Stamina, Strength. So by Organic Chemistry 3, you end up with all 6 types of wounds that a medic can heal. So you will want to keep a small number of wound packs on you. 1, maybe 2, if you're going to be doing a lot of healing. And then once you get up here, you get, this is Organic Chemistry 2. Once you get up here, you get Small Stimpack B. Well, Small Stimpack Bs are not as straightforward. They require any kind of organic and any kind of inorganic. So 12 units of each. And then there are these boxes here. So you need a liquid suspension, you need a chemical release duration mechanism, and you need a biological effect controller. Well, where do you get these from? Let's go back. And so you'll start off only being able to make these basic ones, And then later on you'll be able to make the advanced ones. The advanced ones are better than the regular ones, but the advanced ones require named resources. And they require more units. So if we look at the biological effect controller, 6 and 6, but the advanced is 18 and 18, and this one requires wild wheat from Locke and fibroplast from Tatooine. So that means you're going to have to do a lot of interplanetary travel. So it's not always cost effective to build the advanced ones while you are grinding. You do get more experience points by healing more damage in a single hit, but if you have to spend multiple thousands of dollars traveling around the galaxy picking out specific types of resources, so this one requires herbivore meat, but from any planet. And this one requires class 4 petrochemical, so from any planet. The advanced liquid suspension requires berry fruit from Dantooine and water vapor from Talos. Then over here on the solid delivery shell we have 16 units of domesticated oats, so that's from any planet, and 16 units of dolomite iron. Not all planets will carry that specific type of iron, so that just reinforces where I was going with the last point, and that is, it is most frequently better to simply carry around, or to create your Stimpack Bs and Cs with the basic level, or the basic models, rather than the advanced models. Now, if you're using your medic to help out in a large party, and you're going to be going and you're going to be doing some fairly high level rating, then it would be better for you to go out and get these resources, whether that be through hand sampling or through harvesters. I'm not really going to be covering harvesters in this video series, or in this video, but when I release my Master Artisan video and review, I will be doing a greater in-depth conversation about harvesters and factories, and maybe I'll do a house, although that's kind of expensive, but we'll see. Just know that you can get those resources if you do need them, but for general playing and general crafting, it really is better just to use the basic models. You will get more experience when you use those stim packs, but overall, it's not going to be that big of a delta. So, the Stimpack B and the Stimpack C are almost identical as far as how they're made, but the Stimpack B gives us 111, Stimpack C gives us 240. So if you can make the Stimpack C is considerably better, even without experimenting. And experimenting at relatively low levels is not going to give you a great deal, but once you get up to Organic Chemistry 4, you get, 45 total experimentation points. So you can do experimentation on those, and let's go ahead and try one out. So we need a biological effect controller. That's not great. Oh, that's great. That's not enough. garbage. Insect meat's not very good. How about that? No. Well, that's okay. That's even better. So we have our resources here. These numbers are not fantastic, but it's not horrible. So let's go ahead and hit assemble. Let's go next. Let's experiment. Now when you're experimenting, there are some things to keep in mind. There is an article on the forums called Tool Effectiveness that goes into quite a bit of detail. And I disagree with a couple of the facts that he puts out, and it's a pretty long read. So I'll give you the short summary. And the short summary is you should have a tool with a tool effectiveness, and let's actually move this over. Let's check this guy. That's garbage. Garbage 5. Okay, 7.8. So you should have the highest effectiveness tool that you can manage, and I do recommend having Artisan as part of your template, even if you don't keep it for a very long time. So the tool effectiveness can go from -15 all the way up to +15. The probability that you will ever get a +15 is very low. You will most likely only get 14 and a decimal, simply because of the way the math works. In the article, Taco Magic says you really don't need a tool with a tool effectiveness that is significantly beyond 0, because mathematically it doesn't really provide a great deal of benefit. But that's where I disagree. I've looked at it, the math, and he actually had the code from the devs. So he was able to show exactly how the math works. And if you have a very high rated tool and you're a low level character, you've only got, a couple boxes over here, or even if you're up here without having master, then having the highest possible tool effectiveness does help. Now, your character skill mods have a much larger part to play than the tool effectiveness does, but still, you don't get a great deal of medical assembly or medical experimentation until you're at the master medic point, or master doctor, or master combat medic, whatever it is that you're looking for. So I do recommend trying to make the best quality tool that you can, and as you progress in Artisan, you'll be able to make better and better tools. So one of the other things that was covered in the article is if you use a lot of points in a single attempt, so like this, rather than just one, you have a significantly higher penalty to your overall end product. So if your goal is to max out experimental effectiveness or experimental charges, then it's better to do them 1 point at a time. Now, I actually skipped over a step, and I apologize for that, but on the previous window it said your crafting assembly was some kind of success. I didn't read it, but your tool effectiveness also has a part to play on that. So now, which should you aim for when you are performing your experimentation? I've only got 5 points, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 boxes on 2 separate lines with 8 each. So obviously I can't put 16 points here because I only have 5. Experimental charges will increase the number of charges you get per stack, and experimental effectiveness will increase the amount of damage that it actually heals. So, in my opinion, experimental charges is the better way to go. Now, if you do one at a time, you don't suffer the penalty of using multiple points in a row. You also don't get a random percentage that is as good. What I mean to say is, if I were to put all 5 points and the result of the experiment was an amazing success, which is as high as you can get, then this outcome would be better than using each point individually, because you are very unlikely to get 5 successive amazing results. So it's kind of like the lottery. You can use a bunch of points and you could get a very good result, or you could get a very horrible result. And if you get a mediocre result, it will not be as good as using your points individually. So my recommendation is to use 1 point, run the experiment, great success. Okay. Now, one thing to point out, if that had been, now you see the charges went up to 14%, it was at 7, and only one of these boxes was yellow. Now that I ran the experiment, this box is yellow, and I've got 7 more that I could put points into. I've only got 4 points, but let's say I had 12 points, right? Just out of theory. If I were to get great successes, I would end up filling all of these purple boxes with yellow, and then I would have spare points left over. The way it works when you get an amazing success is the number of boxes down here increases in yellow, your percentage here goes up, but the box stays purple. So if you have an amazing success, you can still get a lot more points onto this row. Something's going on. What? Oh, we have a commando attacking a stormtrooper. Let's go ahead and watch that. So it looked like he was using his flamethrower on point mode, so you can throw a fireball downrange. Commandos are pretty impressive as a combat class. They are a hybrid class, so they don't stack well with other professions. And as you could see, my whole screen was shaking and I had a lot of orange all over the place when I finally turned off my UI. Commando is not a popular profession for people to group with because of that specific effect. So I used to be a commando before Sony implemented the CU, the combat upgrade, and I could only get a tank to group with me one time, and then after that one time, they would refuse to group with me because I would successfully drop their frame rate down to 1 frame per second, and all they would have is just this huge, screen of orange and red with smattering colors. And so they were unable to do anything during the attack, and so they didn't like it. So back over here, if I get an amazing success, it will apply the effects, but it won't take away the point. A great success. A good success, which is just below great. Great success. And a moderate success, which is below good. Okay, so my charges is now up to 4. So we're done experimenting. Now we're going to create a prototype. Now, I needed a chemical release duration mechanism. That's pretty good. And that's good. The schematic is not ready for assembly. The slot requires must be fulfilled. Oh. There was only 4. Yeah, I'll use that. Okay, power 2, whatever that means. Let's do some experimentation. We only get 1. That's experimental effectiveness, and the power is currently at 2. So let's run the 1 point. A good success. A great success. A great success. Good success. And a great success. So that's overall pretty successful, and the power is now up to 8. And I forgot what. Liquid suspension, we did that. Chemical release duration, we did that. And then biological effect controller, or did we do that? Charges 4. Okay, so I have the biological effect controller. I need the liquid suspension. I've only got 1 pile of water, or water vapor. Not really sure how that works. Those stats are not very good. If you're making these for a specific reason, like questing or going out and doing missions with a big group, then you will want to have the best possible resources that you can manage. Power is 14. Great success. Good success. Good success. Great success. And a big failure. Yay. And we're out of points. Power is 24. So we're done. Let's go ahead and create that. Now I can start on the Stimpack C. And we need to wait for this 14 to go down to 0. Did that commando come back? Commandos can use flamethrowers, rocket launchers, advanced grenades, acid launchers. They get a special pistol called a rocket pistol, and they have a lightning cannon. So they can do a very large variety of damage, and they can do quite a lot of damage. He just laid down. That's not very exciting. Interesting. I just noticed there's a shadow over here for a tree that doesn't exist. Or maybe it does exist and it's right there. So he just took out that Imperial Storm Captain pretty quickly. No, not VK877. Oh, poor 877. He was always my favorite. That's so sad. Bye-bye 877. At some point. Surrender now. Okay. So I think after I do my creature handler build, I'm going to do a commando build. Just not really sure what I would put with it. Getting Master Commando doesn't really provide you with a whole lot of points left. So you really don't get a lot that you can stack with it. I don't even think you can Master Medic with the remaining points you have from Master Commando. Okay, so now Power 23. I made this one, and it's not as good as that random one that I found on the dirt. So this is where I was going before. The item assembly was a great success. So that's pretty good. Now, I no longer need to worry about the medicine use skill, but I do want the quantity to go up, and that is the experimental charges. That way, great success. I don't have to carry around as many stim packs. And quantity went from 23 to 33. So that's pretty not bad. And the components that I created has gone away, except for this liquid suspension that I created, even though I had one in my inventory. So that is the basics of the crafting. In the next video, I will go over these three branches since they use the same thing. And hopefully there will be some horribly wounded and scarred people in the med center when I go to make part 3. But go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with this series. I'll be making another medic video after this one. And then additionally, when I get Master Medic, I'll be making another video so that I can cover everything that the medic does and provide you with any experience and tips and whatnot. So go ahead and subscribe for that. I will also be doing templates for a lot of the other professions, not quite all of them, but I'll cover the majority of the professions in the game. So go ahead and hit subscribe for that. And if you liked TK877 getting blown to pieces, hit like. Have a nice day.